Hello, and welcome to Bridging the Gap, bringing innovative technology into the classroom. My name is Kelly Smith, and I am the chairperson at Peninsula Regional Association for Academic Excellence. The purpose of this presentation is to provide an overview of how educators can more effectively introduce and include innovative technology into the school system, while also leading from a biblical perspective. Today's presentation is based on the research of Everett Rogers and aims to provide a working framework for technology integration. I will begin with a brief overview of Rogers adopter categories, then discuss how to effectively work with and include each adopter category in the inclusion of innovative technology. Finally, I will discuss how to lead educational systems based on the model set forth by Christ and the importance of leading from a biblical perspective. When attempting to introduce new ideas to a system, Rogers identified 5 categories of adopters, which represent different types of people present within a system and their willingness to adopt a new idea or technology. These categories include innovators, early adopters, early majority, late majority, and laggards. Each of these groups play an important role in the adoption of new technology and how successful it becomes within a system. The first adopters, the innovators, are the most willing to accept new ideas and experiences. These are the people who bring new ideas to the table from outside the system. However, because of their willingness to jump on board so quickly, they tend to lose respect from other members of the system, as they can be viewed as risky. The second group, early adopters, have leadership roles within their systems and serve as role models who set the pace for other members to follow. This group's opinions are valuable and affect the attitudes of others who view them as leaders. Next, the early majority represent a larger section within a system who take time to weigh the pros and cons of an idea before jumping on board. While they do not have the same leadership status as the early adopters, the early majority are essential in the successful integration of new ideas. The late majority tend to be more skeptical within the group and prefer to see the outcomes of peers who have adopted to the change before they go along with an idea. Because of the close connections with peers, this group can be swayed by other members of the system to make a decision. Lastly, the laggards represent the most reluctant to change and are least willing to adopt a new idea initially. This group will wait to see the outcomes or potential drawbacks of an idea before committing, and it will take them some time to fully decide. When introducing innovative ideas and technology into a system, each of Rogers' adopters should be carefully considered in order to best implement and adopt change. In order for technology integration to be successful, it is important to bring people on board who are excited, influential, and effective. In Rogers' adopter categories, these pioneers of change include innovators, early adopters, and early majority. Harnessing the energy and enthusiasm of innovators is important, as this group might not have the most influence among their peers. Pairing innovators with members from the early adopters and early majority can give enough appeal, charisma, and influence needed to get an idea off the ground. Likewise, consider relevant prior experience with technology among these groups, as Nilsson and Goodson note that some early adopters may be more comfortable utilizing and engaging with new technology. From a biblical perspective, Jesus' followers could easily be categorized as members of Rogers' adopters. Simon Peter, for example, had the drive and energy of an innovator, but as a fisherman lacked social status and influence. St. Paul, while initially a staunch persecutor of Christians, became instrumental in the spreading of the gospel. Paul fits the model of an early adopter, and his influence and leadership was essential for the successful evangelization of the early church. James and John, the sons of Zebedee, fit the profile of members of the early majority and were often included in Jesus' inner circle of apostles. They were the ones who witnessed several miracles that the other apostles did not. Jesus clearly saw the sons of Zebedee as influential in some way, perhaps in helping the other apostles to believe more fully in Christ. It is also important to consider how members within a system can grow. For example, Peter may have initially fit the profile of an innovator, yet as Jesus worked more closely with him, he grew to resemble an early adopter. Jesus made him the rock of the church. Effective leadership within a system is able to recognize the talents and tools needed for successful integration and harness the abilities within the system to best achieve the goal. It can be argued that engaging and inspiring Rogers' first 3 adopter categories is easier than winning over the last 2. As mentioned previously, the late majority are skeptical and will need winning over to feel comfortable adopting new technology. Consider showing how innovative technology can add value to what is already being done. Furthermore, as Nilsson and Goodson recognize, Providing effective and quality professional development to introduce, instruct, and clarify innovative technology can help to instill a sense of compatibility in groups that may be less willing to tackle new tech. Finally, pairing up the late majority and laggards with supportive peers can not only encourage community within the system, but also act as a springboard for cooperative learning and cultivation of ideas. From a biblical perspective, Jesus again lays out a model for reaching those who may initially be skeptical of his message. While most of his apostles could be seen as members of one of Roger's first three categories, there were still some who may have continued to doubt. In John's Gospel, Jesus gives a very difficult teaching concerning his body and blood, a message that sent many followers away because they could not accept what he was saying. He then turns to the apostles and asks if they will leave also, knowing that what he was teaching was uncomfortable, confusing, and alarming. Those who remained with Christ after the Bread of Life discourse were supported by one another's determination amidst a difficult truth and mustered the courage to continue walking with Christ, despite reservations. These followers reflect attitudes and dispositions held by those in the late majority. Later, in John's Gospel, when Jesus is being questioned by Pontius Pilate, the two engage in a debate about the nature of truth. Pilate, being of Roman culture and religious belief, had little to no understanding of the message that Jesus brought and could easily be seen as a member of the laggard adopter category. While he did not fully accept Jesus for who he is, Pilate still released him after their encounter and after concluding that he was innocent. Through careful dialogue, persistence, and courage, Jesus was still able to lead someone as reluctant as Pilate toward the truth. By examining Roger's categories of adopters from a biblical perspective, it is important to always consider the backgrounds, experiences, and attitudes of each of the people within a system. People from each adopter category feel a particular way about new technology, and that can have a profound impact on the success or failure of innovative technological integration. It is important to lead in a way that models Christ and recognizes the unique talents of each member in a system. Always remember to approach with love, understanding, and compassion as Christ did. Taking time to recognize the unique walks of life that every person comes from can help ease the concerns of those who may feel unprepared or less eager to change. Paul's letter to the Ephesians reminds us to be kind to one another, compassionate and forgiving, as God has been towards us. By using the tools discussed in this presentation, I hope that you will be able to feel more prepared in bringing new technology successfully into your school system through a biblical lens. Doing so allows us to walk in the footsteps of Christ, who first stretched out his hand toward us, guiding with truth, wisdom, and courage in the light of the gospel.